Summary of Psalm 61 to 66 NLT. Psalm 61. David prays for God's protection and guidance when he is feeling distant or overwhelmed. He asks God to hear his cry and lead him to a secure refuge. David expresses his trust in God's faithfulness and longs to dwell in his presence forever. The psalm ends with a vow to praise God and fulfill the promises made to him. Psalm 62. In this psalm, David speaks of his trust in God as his rock and salvation, even in times of trouble. He affirms that God alone is his refuge and strength, and he encourages others to trust in him as well. The psalm emphasizes that earthly wealth and power are fleeting, and true security comes from God alone. David closes with a reminder that God will reward the righteous and punish the wicked. Psalm 63. David expresses a deep longing for God, comparing his thirst for God to a parched desert. He recalls God's past faithfulness and finds comfort in his presence. David commits to praising God with his whole being and declares that God's love is better than life itself. The psalm ends with a confidence that God will protect and deliver those who seek him. Psalm 64. David prays for protection from his enemies who are plotting evil against him. He describes their wickedness and their desire to bring harm to the righteous. David asks God to intervene and frustrate the plans of the wicked. He expresses confidence that the righteous will rejoice when God brings justice, and that the enemies of God will be defeated. Psalm 65. This psalm is a song of praise for God's abundant blessings, including his provision for the earth and his forgiveness of sins. The psalmist reflects on the beauty of nature and how God has made the earth fruitful. He praises God for his awesome power and care for his people. The psalm concludes by celebrating the abundance and blessings that come from God's provision. Psalm 66. A psalm of praise and thanksgiving. This psalm calls on all the earth to praise God for his mighty acts. The psalmist recounts God's faithfulness in answering prayers, delivering his people from distress, and bringing them through trials. The psalm ends with a personal testimony of how God has heard and answered the psalmist's prayers. It concludes by encouraging others to seek God and offer him praise. These psalms highlight themes of trust in God, praise, longing for his presence, and his faithfulness in times of trouble. They encourage a heart of worship, reliance on God's provision, and confidence in his justice and care.